Welcome to Heart and Homestead with Dawn. We are out in the field today and just doing a little bit of husbandry on the plants. We are clipping the tomatoes back. I'll be doing a video on that shortly, but was super surprised when I started inspecting all of the plants to what I found. Now, I wasn't surprised at the first one I'm about to show you, but I was super surprised at the second one that I'm about to show you. So here's our peach tree, and we were not surprised to find lots of Japanese beetles eating it. Right now, in the heat of the day, is not the time to get them. The time to get them is in the cool of the morning, and just kind of pick them off and put them in some soapy water. But then over here on our eggplant, we found these guys. Like, what in the world even are they? Can you see them? They're all over there. They have like a slime. They look like snails, and they are devouring the leaves of the eggplant. Look at this. Look at this. Look at them going. They are really enjoying that. So first we need to identify what these are. They definitely are like little snails. Look at that one moving. It is a little snail. It's like a soft shell snail. So first, identify what they are. Second, how to get rid of them. So they are Colorado potato beetles. That is what it looks like. Interestingly enough, they are not on our potatoes. They are only on the eggplant. And I will show you what we did to get rid of them. So here's a couple that we left so that I can show you what we did to get rid of them. And welcome to Heart and Homestead with Dawn, honey.
Hey.
Show us how you're getting rid of those.
Well, this isn't vitamin water. It's soapy water.
Okay.
And it's a grave to Japanese beetles. There's a ton of them in there.
What?
And,
look at that.
and
Disgusting.
lately, these Colorado beetle grubs. So here's two more going to go to their watery graves. So you pick them off and you drop them in.
This is the organic way of farming, you guys.
So this is what everybody needs to do. There's no planting anything and walking away. You have to be out there every single day inspecting. It's called IPM, Integrated Pest Management. The first line of defense is to pick them off. I must have 100 between the Colorado potato beetle and the Japanese beetles. I must have 100 in there. And the main thing is, look, you know, there are natural predators out here.
Right.
You know, there are ladybugs and praying mantis, and they need to eat these. So you want to use spray as your last resort, even if it's if I spray, it's only organic spray. I mean, I use garlic, but even garlic is irritating to the predators.
So what we really wanted to show you here are the tomatoes and what we have going on. So this morning, early before it got too hot, got to about over 90 degrees here and pretty humid. We went through and trimmed off all the bottom leaves, even some that were fruitful. I want to try and get over there so that I can show you what everything looks like. Here you go. Look at these gorgeous tomatoes growing. Beautiful. We've got a mixture of plums and slicing in there. And so, honey, what is this system called here?
It's called the Florida weave, and it's basically just putting in a bunch of stakes and weaving a string between all of them and capturing your tomatoes in one big control system. And
Okay.
I'm using, you know, special twine that won't break. You know, it's a nylon type twine for stringing tomatoes. I used to use this in the greenhouse. But now we're going to attach it to a bamboo, which happens to be growing on our property. I didn't plant it, but...
So we have lots of bamboo growing at the end of our property down there that we harvest from, and that's what we're using to stake up here.
So, you know, tomatoes are high maintenance. They take a lot of work. If you don't want them to get diseased and you want them to produce good fruit, you need to prune them so there'll be air circulation. You need to prune the bottom so none of the leaves touch the soil and bring up disease. And then you need to stake them so they don't fall on the ground. You need to fertilize them, make sure they're getting calcium in their fertilizer so they don't get blossom and rot. Tomatoes are very high maintenance. I spent almost the entire day grooming these tomatoes, cutting off all diseased leaves and cutting off all lower leaves or anything that touched the ground so they wouldn't get more disease.
So explain what you're doing right now. So you're just tying up the string
Right, so there's a
to the
bale-
bamboo.
bale
So
of
you see
twine.
there's some down here already.
Yeah, that was one layer. And the thing to do here is, as the tomatoes grow, go up to the next level. So most people everybody loves to plant tomatoes, and look, here's a diseased area here, or an eaten area. I'm just gonna cut the other thing. You could pluck bugs off by hand, and you could cut off diseased parts by hand, rather than using chemicals, even organic chemicals. That's
And
our
now
last
those
resort.
diseased parts, you're not going to put them in your compost pile,
No,
are
we
you?
put them in our burn pile
Right.
because they could harbinger over till next year. These are for canning tomatoes.
Yep, these are going to be sauce tomatoes, you guys. So stay tuned for some upcoming videos on canning. Okay, Florida weave is all done. Look how beautiful. And the last step before we can go in, because it is starting to rain, is fertilizing. So what do you have going on here, honey?
So I'm using tried and true tomato tone.
Tomato tone
It's
organic.
got everything just for tomatoes, especially the calcium. A lot of times tomatoes will rot at the end. It's called blossom end rot, and it's because they're lacking calcium. This bag has got a good amount of calcium in it. By percentage, it's 8% calcium. And it's got nitrogen, and the nitrogen mainly comes from bone meal and chicken manure. So it's really good for the tomatoes. And when they're fruiting, or right before they're fruiting and during the fruiting, they need some fertilizer as their food.
How often would you put that on?
Well, this should be put on about every 2 weeks
Every 2 weeks, okay.
on tomatoes. I haven't done it every 2 weeks, but we planted these holes with organic cow manure and a whole bunch of fertilizer and Epsom salts and bone meal to start with, so they had a good start. So
Okay.
they're probably at about 8 weeks now. So
And why are you wearing gloves?
only because I have some scratches and the fertilizer will burn.
Okay.
So this is how it goes. I put like a semi. You're supposed to go around the whole plant, but it really doesn't matter. And I just do everything by
So
hand.
you're doing about a
A
handful?
handful at the base, not right up against the trunk. More or
Let's
less
see.
on
Let's see before you put it down.
more or less on the drip line, like a fistful, as much as you can hold in your fist.
fistful and a semicircle all around. Now, do you have to water after you put this down?
Well, it's raining now, so
It's raining now.
But the other thing you could do is lightly fork it in with a potato hoe.
Okay.
That'll make it get into the ground easier. This ground is great to start with because we're using no-till with compost and wood chips, and they're breaking down really well. And we're in the second year of this now. Just want to help it out a little, not rip it up because the roots are near the top too. They don't mind being
Very gentle.
they don't mind being messed with a little bit, but not a lot.
Right.
But the tomatoes are coming out great. The biggest concern is overwatering and underwatering at this point, and blossom end rot, where you get rot at the end of the tomatoes and they just don't come out right.
Sure.
And we haven't gotten any hornworms yet, but I do plan on spraying with our garlic spray, which has a sulfur in it, which is an antifungal. Tomatoes are high maintenance. They're going to get diseases and insects, and you got to prune them correctly.
So the plan is next year we're going to have our greenhouses up, right?
Yeah, I like growing in the greenhouses better because the bottom line is tomatoes don't like to have their leaves wet at all because they get diseases. So they do like to be bottom watered, which we do in the greenhouse with drip tape. So, yeah.
All right, so there you have it. Tomatoes are done. It's such a great feeling, you guys. If you would have seen what they looked like before we started pruning them, I wish I would have done that. You'd be amazed. Look at them, so fruitful. Grow, little tomatoes, grow. So there you have it. That is it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like, subscribe, comment, and share. And stay tuned for some more great upcoming content coming your way. Say bye, honey.
Bye.